And kicking off at the Emirates, our next commentary, Arsenal against Bournemouth, and it's with Rob Green and John Murray.
You've just missed North London forever as well, so it's just faded away as you hand it across to us here. And Bournemouth kicked off. Arsenal playing from left to right, so attacking towards the clock end in the first half. Red shirts, white shorts and red socks against Bournemouth in their sort of greeny blue third kit. And this match does have meaning. Arsenal, of course, it's the match in between the two legs against Paris Saint-Germain, and they still need to make certain of a top 5 finish and qualification for the Champions League next season. If they win this match, that will almost certainly be it. And as for Bournemouth, they are still chasing the possibility of a European place for the first time in the club's history. So plenty at stake. Rob Green?
Plenty at stake, and you're looking at the way that Arsenal have set up and how they're going to go about it against the Bournemouth side that you would think is about as close as you can get to PSG in terms of physicality, in terms of pace in attack that you're going to get in the Premier League. In between playing PSG, it's not a bad practice.
Yes, I've always said Bournemouth and Paris have a great deal in common. The town of love on the south coast. Arsenal, Bournemouth then. Arsenal, 2 changes from Tuesday night. Raya in goal, White coming in for Timber, who's not involved, but here's Ouattara for Bournemouth on the left-hand side, swings the cross in, but too close to Raya, who's able to take a step out of his 6-yard box and catch that quite comfortably. So the back four for Arsenal: White, Saliba, Kiwior and Lewis Skelly. There was a suggestion, wasn't there, Rob, the other night that Timber had a little bit of an issue and he's not on the bench. We'll find out later, but I presume that's a precaution as Arsenal win a free kick off inside their own half.
Yeah, it's an interesting one for Ben White down here against Ouattara, talking about comparisons with PSG and how they really struggled against Kvaratskhelia early on in the game in the week. Well, Ben White's got up against it tonight against Ouattara, who's been on fire recently, but also looking at the combination of him, Ødegaard and Saka, that down the right-hand side as Arsenal, you think has got a tick today.
Given away by Partey. So Partey back in the team, suspended, as you probably know, on Tuesday night. Bournemouth playing it forward, but Raya's going to be able to slide out on his left side and claim that ball quite comfortably. So it is that midfield back together. Partey, Captain Ødegaard and Declan Rice in the position that he's played most of the season. And then Saka and Martinelli in the wide positions and Trossard through the middle. So just the 2 changes, but with all of the various injured players, there weren't too many options for Mikel Arteta. And Bournemouth with Kepa Arrizabalaga, the goalkeeper. Araujo comes in at right back. This is his first start since he came back from after a hamstring operation. At the moment, he's tangling with Martinelli, a bouncing ball, and Martinelli goes to ground. And referee Jared Gillett says free kick Arsenal.
Yeah, soft from Araujo. You're looking at a player who's coming fresh into the game and showed nerves there. Obsessed with Martinelli rather than the ball. It was fairly harmless and just completely misjudged the flight of it. He's given away. Martinelli's won it, really. It was very little in it, but unnecessary pressure.
Well, in the last home match in the Premier League, remember, early on, 3rd minute from a free kick, round about where this one is, Ødegaard swung it in and Kiwior headed it into the net. So an early set piece for Arsenal. It's 0-0, 5 live at a cloudy Emirates. It is now. The sun of the week has disappeared. Ødegaard waiting to take this, left-footed. In it comes towards the near post, and Araujo was able to stoop down and head that away quite comfortably. Lewis Skelly with one of those passes through, but Trossard in an offside position. So it is a free kick to Bournemouth. So the Bournemouth side, as I say, Kepa in goal, a back four: Araujo, Zabani, Howson and Kirkez. This highly rated back line of Bournemouth's. Then Cook coming into the midfield with Adams, Tavernier, Kluivert, Ouattara and Evan-Nielsen, who is able to play despite his red card last Sunday. The appeal went in, it was overturned on Tuesday, so Evan-Nielsen is able to take his place up front. And Bournemouth playing the ball back to goalkeeper Kepa. It is officially, Rob, deep lagoon green is the colour of the Bournemouth kit.
Bluey green.
Yeah, with aquatic detail featuring subtle seashells and waves.
A nod to their coastal roots.
A nod to their coastal roots. Exactly that. Sounds quite tasty, actually, doesn't it? Arsenal 0, Bournemouth 0, and a throw into Arsenal down in front of us. It doesn't look as though the Emirates is anywhere near full. There are vacant seats, particularly in the second tier and the third tier, as the throw for Arsenal bounces down centre field. Adams is able to play it forward through the middle, and then Evan Nielsen there back towards the halfway line. This Bournemouth team coming into this match in 10th position, but there is the possibility, we won't find it all sorted out until everything shakes up, but Bournemouth have got to believe, well, they've got to try and finish as high as they possibly can and maybe get a place in Europe.
Well, you just don't know how many places are up for grabs in the Premier League between now and the end of the season, but Bournemouth been patchy, they've been really streaky, haven't they, this season? One had a fantastic run in the middle of the Premier League, then really have fallen away a bit and looking to rekindle that. So it's a big evening and a big opportunity for them.
Here is through the middle, Justin Kluivert, and in comes the challenge from Declan Rice, who gets up rather tenderly, and that's what we're going to be looking for, isn't it, today? Oh, and Declan Rice is just gone down and felt the top of his right boot, and everyone here with a red and white shirt on holds their breath to see if Declan Rice is all right.
Yeah, there's a sharp intake of breath from who is here, and it's not full, as you said, John, but he's okay. He's a tough boy.
Yeah, he looks okay. He's running his fingers through his hair. I couldn't help, I noticed on one of the stalls outside the Emirates today, Declan Rice scarves reading "Bend It Like Declan," which I thought was very sharp. As Odegaard now gets onto the ball in midfield, and then it's played all the way back by Martinelli into his own half, and then infield from Kivior, long pass from Lewis Skelly. Kirkes is underneath that for Bournemouth to head it to the halfway line. Thomas Partey now, his ball over the top, that's asking a lot of Saka, and it will bounce all the way through to Kepa, the goalkeeper.
Yeah, Thomas Partey immediately taking up positions where you felt like they were missing in the week and picking up loose balls. It was wayward then from him, but I just think positionally he's got such an important part in this thing.
We will bring you more reaction to the afternoon's event, and it has been breathless. So if you've been with us throughout the course of the afternoon, timelessly breathless, isn't it, whenever the Football League draws to a close from 12:30 in the Championship all the way through until, well, just a few minutes ago really, when everything was finished off in League Two. Thrown to Bournemouth inside their own half. I will run you through it in case you haven't heard of all of the ups and downs and who's in the playoffs and whatnot, but Arsenal in possession, Partey going back to Kivior in central defence, and then to his right to Saliba, and here's Ben White, and White passes it to the halfway line, but Kirkes is in quick on the tackle with Saka, and it's a little unfortunate actually that it ricochets out of play for a throw into Arsenal.
Yeah, well read by Kirkes, and it's a little bit slow from Ben White. He got turned inside out by Ouattara early doors, and then there a slow pass from him, just finding his feet in the game.
Throw in from White back to Saliba, and then Saliba is leaned into by Evan Nielsen, but Arsenal are able to keep possession. Here's Odegaard. Bournemouth 2-0 winners, remember, against Arsenal back before Christmas in the first half of the season, in that match when Saliba was sent off for a challenge round about the halfway line, wasn't it, if you remember it, on Evan Nielsen. Red card shown to him for the first time in his career. So not only have Bournemouth got a chance to get something here for the first time in the club's history, they could also do a double over Arsenal. So there is lots on the line, and I do feel that Andoni Iraola, Rob, will probably have said to his players, this is an ideal time to come here and play Arsenal.
And you can feel it as well, the atmosphere around it isn't full, and you're feeling it was a sleepy entrance to their anthem as they walked out, as you touched on, and it's not really it's got more of the Emirates atmosphere of a few years ago than it has of this season or before.
Rice being put under pressure by Big Zabani, but he's able to play it back in field, and now Rice receives it from Trossard. Rice making ground down the left wing. Martinelli's there ahead of him. He's on the ball now. He's up against Araujo. Bournemouth have got 2 players on Martinelli now. Played back to Lewis Skelly, further away from goal square. Partey takes a touch. They wanted him to shoot, but he laid it off to Odegaard, and he got it all wrong. He passed it in front of Odegaard, and that meant that Kirkes could step in, take the ball and run it towards the halfway line, where Bournemouth win themselves a throw, 0-0.
Yeah, and shoot was the right option. Just thought when he did give it away, there was a real opportunity for Bournemouth. They had 4 players in attacking positions, and Arsenal's defence pushed way into the Bournemouth half. One pass and they'd go, but Ouattara just chose not to go, chose not to run.
So it is Bournemouth in possession, inside their own half, knocking it around across the back line. Sports Extra right now, the commentary, the choice of listening is the Leinster-Northampton Champions Cup semi-final, but we'll keep you updated on that during the course of the next hour and a half or so. But you can listen to it on BBC Sounds or via digital radio on Sports Extra. Leinster against Northampton. Here come Bournemouth. Howson carrying the ball forward, the tall, fair-haired Spanish international as he is now. Howson receives it back and then plays it back to Adams near the halfway line. Tyler Adams, formerly Leeds United, now confirmed today as winners of the championship this season. 100 points, same as Burnley, but clinching it on goal difference with their win at Plymouth earlier this afternoon. Leeds fans, I'm sure, will be listening on the way back. As the ball is played over the top for Evan Nielsen. Backheel flick to Araujo, and then back it goes towards the halfway line. Good confident stuff this from Bournemouth, knocking it around inside the Arsenal half. Araujo again on the right, in comes the cross, and White chests it behind for a corner.
Yeah, Evan Nielsen wasn't in the area, but it's really well controlled from Bournemouth, and then a great ball in. Just needed Evan Nielsen, that centre forward's presence, to be in there. He'd work the channels. Just think, as a centre forward, allow your teammates to go and do that work. Go drift out there, get them to do it. You stay in the centre of the goal. That's a perfect cross for you.
So Tavernier is going to take this. Marcus Tavernier just coming across, back in the starting lineup, having come on as a substitute in the last 3 matches. Semenyo's on the bench, Scott on the bench, Smith on the bench as well, the club captain. So Tavernier, outswinger with his left foot, from an angle, little steps, and then deep delivery to the back post, looking for Howson, who did get his head to it, but he was put under pressure by Saliba, who chases him all the way out there to the far side. He kept it in play and gave it to Saliba, and then Saliba to Trossard, who's breaking forward. I think he might have been bundled over, but nevertheless, Martinelli plays it on through the middle, Rice on the chase. But Zabani was there to tidy up and just got there first to play it back to Kepa, who cleared it away. Effective break, Arsenal.
Yeah, needed it from Zabani. Really good, powerful running from Declan Rice, as we are used to seeing him bursting through the midfield, and it was desperate stuff there for Bournemouth. They've caught out.
0-0, Arsenal 0, Bournemouth 0. And the home supporters doing their best to urge Arsenal on here, but it's been a promising start from Bournemouth, who are on a 4-match unbeaten run. However, that is 3 draws and a win, so they've won only 1 of their last 9, and that's why, as Rob was saying, that they've slipped down from 5th to where they are now in 10th, but it's still quite tight as Odegaard turns and gives the ball out towards the far side. Important win for Aston Villa at lunchtime, if you missed that, 1-0 against Fulham. So Villa now level on points with Chelsea and Nottingham Forest, who will play over the course of the next couple of days. We've got 6 Premier League commentaries on 5 Live and Sports Extra over the course of this bank holiday weekend, today and tomorrow. Here's Partey in centre field. The ball just tapped off to Odegaard, who comes in field and then plays it nicely. Martinelli, lovely pass, Rice, left foot shot across the face of goal and wide of the far post, and it's a goal kick. Best move of the match so far.
Yeah, really good incisive play from Arsenal, and it's the run from Declan Rice off the ball, a third man run, just drifting from midfield into the attacking line. And you feel him, if it was on the other side, a mirror image, the opportunity on his right foot, it would have been a better opportunity for him.
0-0 here at the Emirates. Let's see how things have started in Dublin. James Burridge.
And it's an electric start here. Northampton leading by 7 points to 3. Tommy Freeman with the early try, converted by Finn Smith. Prendergast has knocked over a penalty for Leinster, and Leinster have had a huge opportunity to take the lead. It's Northampton 7, Leinster 3.
So 7-3, and James is alongside Paul Grayson. So if you switch across to Sports Extra now, you will hear James commentating with Paul Grayson. We'll also keep you up to date with Hull KR and Salford, which is the match currently in the Super League at St James's Park. And very shortly, via the website, so this is where you will find the Miami Grand Prix sprint race. That will be on air at 6 o'clock, although we just heard Jenny Gow saying that the weather's not great in Miami, but it's due to be on at 6, the sprint race. And Damon Hill is part of our team at the Grand Prix all of the course of this weekend as well, so listen out for that. The commentary's on 5 Live tomorrow. Here's Partey, 0-0 here at the Emirates. Miles Lewis-Skelly then goes back to Kiwior, who shifts from right to left, and the Polish defender plays it forward to the Brazilian winger Martinelli, who goes around the outside of Araujo, pulls it back to right-footed shot across the face of goal, but he has his hands on his head. Declan Rice, he tried to adjust his body, open his body to volley that at goal and hit it wide.
Yeah, really good from Martinelli to break down the left, and Araujo, I think he knows he's got the beating of him. I don't know whether Araujo knows it, but he knows he's in for a match all of a sudden. So a long afternoon in store for him, but a couple of good opportunities for Declan Rice.
And so let's get an update from Sharon Shortle, who's sitting in those familiar seats at St James's Park.
And we've had a familiar celebration as well. It's Hull Kingston Rovers 12, Salford 0. A try confirmed by the video referee from Dean Hadley, and then the local lad, the Geordie boy, Sam Luckley, scoring, crashing in under the post, and he gave it the full Alan Shearer finger in front of the Rovers fans. Both tries converted. Hull KR 12, Salford 0.
What a nice touch. Probably wanted to do that all his career, and lo and behold, he gets the chance to do it. As Arsenal play a long one forward. Martinelli on the chase, but Kepa out of his penalty area is able to head it down and away. He got there first, right on the edge of the box, Rob.
Yeah, really good goalkeeping that from Kepa, because the temptation is to come charging out, but he just knew and judged to perfection that Martinelli wasn't going to get the touch, and then when it bounced, it was going to skip away from him, so he could just stand and wait.
Kepa on loan from Chelsea this season. Remember, he was at Real Madrid last season, got himself a Champions League winners medal, or shall I say another Champions League winners medal, having got one with Chelsea as well. Still the world's most expensive goalkeeper, Rob.
Yeah, it was enough to put everyone else off.
Here is Trossard. I don't know who you mean. Trossard coming in field. On his right foot, 30 yards out, but under pressure from Bournemouth. And now Ben White on the right-hand side. Here is Saka, not really been able to get into the game yet. Oh, that's a lovely change of feet, though. What a pass that was to White. White chips it across goal to the back post, but Zabani got there first with his long locks. Was able to head it wide of the far post for a corner.
Yeah, beautiful football from Arsenal down the right. And it is that link-up. Saka, White, Odegaard, Trossard, just as a quadrant in the corner, working it out. And clever little dink, and Zabani knew Declan Rice, he's been the man of the afternoon so far for chances. He was waiting, loitering.
And that change of feet from Bukayo Saka made me think that he might have been watching Lamine Yamal on Wednesday night. I don't know if he's going to try that sort of thing. It was lovely. It's one touch with the left foot, one touch with the right foot, and the pass through to White. But it's a corner, and you know what that means for Arsenal. Here's Rice to take it with that delivery of his. It's a deep one, this. In fact, it's to the near post where Martinelli tried to get his head to it. And it just, I think, a little touch from him, and it hit the outside of the side netting.
No, clearing off the pitch from Declan Rice. Oh. It's a collector's item. And he did the golfer's thing where he looked at the floor and blamed something else on the turf that was there. It's perfect here at the Emirates. I don't think there's a problem there.
Well, it'll have to be better than that. You're absolutely right, Rob, when we were talking before the match. It's rather like Villa in the second leg, I think, when it comes to the Champions League for Arsenal. One of those nights where everything's got to go right in the Parc des Princes on Wednesday. Join us for it. We'll be there in Paris. Here's Rice taking the ball out towards the left-hand side as Arsenal attack again. He was chased all the way there by Kluivert, and in the end, cheers from the Bournemouth supporters there. He was able to deflect it onto Rice, and out of play, and it's a goal kick to Bournemouth, 0-0.
Yeah, but again, it's Declan Rice who's having to do the running, and again, he seems to just get himself in a bit of bother physically, and you're just thinking,
Do you think he's all right?
I don't know.
After that, when he felt his foot from that challenge in the centre circle.
He's not 100%, and you're just thinking, is this worth it? You're 20 minutes in, and he's going to run himself into the ground. He's that type of guy, and I just don't know whether they need their main man to be doing that.
But if he's not okay, and there's just a hand signal there I saw from him to the bench. I mean, Mikel Arteta down there, he's got his coat collar turned up. It is surprisingly cool here inside the Emirates this Saturday tea time, after all of the warmth this week. But there doesn't seem to be any overdue concern about Rice's fitness. We're maybe reading too much into it. Saka plays it out to Lewis Skelly on the halfway line. The TV cameras just on our screen up here, and we are in our high commentary position today rather than the low commentary position. Just showing us a shot of Jurriën Timber, who's sitting in the stands, and Thomas Tuchel as well, the England manager, is here. He didn't look the warmest I've ever seen him either. He looked as though he regretted coming without a coat, Rob.
Well, some of us are sturdier stuff and fine in just the jumpers.
Yes, I'm surprised at that. I thought you might have acclimatised the other way after your recent exploits. Here is Lewis Cook, who's able to turn and play it back into the edge of the area. Tyler Adams was there, and he sets Zabani off on one of his runs. Comes infield centrally for Howson. Now fires it low with pace towards the edge of the area. Kluivert though was challenged. Arsenal breakaway, but Trossard's asking too much of Martinelli, and Araujo was able to get there first and play it back to goalkeeper Kepa, who was already outside of his penalty area. So Arsenal 0, Bournemouth 0. As I mentioned, Leeds confirmed as champions early this afternoon. So Leeds and Burnley automatically promoted, as you'll know. The playoffs now, we know the lineup, which will be Bristol City against Sheffield United and Coventry City against Sunderland. So those are the playoffs to come, and we know that Luton are relegated, second successive relegation. Hull saved themselves, Hull City, with a 1-1 draw at Portsmouth, while Luton lost at West Brom. Long pass forward for Bournemouth, but that's given us a foul. That's given us a foul on Lewis Skelly by Tavernier. So free kick to Arsenal, which they take quickly. Odegaard downfield. Here's Saka on the right. Saka looking for Ben White, but Saka then finds Partey just to the right of the centre circle. Thomas Partey rolls his foot over the top of the ball and then curls a pass over the top to the edge of the area, but Zabani was able to get up, head it down, and Araujo volleys it into the centre circle, where it's headed forward by Saliba, but that's given back to the greeny shirts of Bournemouth. Kluivert on the halfway line then plays it back to Araujo. So in League One, as we knew, Birmingham and Wrexham promoted. The playoffs in League One will be Leyton Orient against Stockport and Wickham against Charlton. So the same four in the playoffs that were there this morning. As Kluivert off on a run through the middle. I thought he might have been shoved over by Declan Rice there. So does Kluivert. No free kick given by referee Gillett. So Arsenal with Trossard turns 360 degrees in the centre circle, and then the Belgian plays it behind White, and Bournemouth are back in position. In fact, Trossard actually took a heavy touch, and it was stabbed out of play by Tavernier for what is given as an Arsenal throw.
Yeah, it was Trossard almost tackling himself there, and just when he gets the ball and he drops in, there's nothing in front of him, any great runners, any great movement, so he kind of end up, there's frustration for the Arsenal fans, but you kind of think, well, he's not really got many options.
Back to Dublin then, and the Champions Cup semi-final. James Burridge.
Leinster lead by 8 points to 7. They have scored. Tommy O'Brien wide out on the right hand side after moments of pressure, 3 line-outs in a row. Eventually the pressure told. Northampton do have a penalty. They're considering whether to take the 3. I think they will, and a huge chance to take the lead again. 22 minutes on the clock. Leinster 8, Northampton 7.
And earlier in the Challenge Cup semi-final, if you didn't hear, Edinburgh 24, Bath 39. Free kick given to Bournemouth, which Cook takes right-footed to the edge of the area, but Kivior gets up and heads that away. Comes back to Araujo, and then back into the centre circle to Kirkes. Quite possibly into his final few weeks as a Bournemouth player. We'll see about that, but certainly all of the... Well, that's been the talk all season, hasn't it? That Liverpool may well be his destination. This Hungarian left-back. There's Howson, who's another one who is attracting a lot of interest. Howson plays it to Kirkes on the left wing. Kirkes cross, that's good! Oh, and it's headed over the top. Evan Nielsen arriving in the middle, just couldn't direct it under the crossbar. By the time he made contact with that, I think he was probably in the 6-yard box with a flying header, but over the top, and he's gone down. He's clutching his face. Whether he collided with Raya, I'm not sure, as he slid onto it.
No, it's a glorious chance from Evan Nielsen, and just caught the boot of David Raya. He's diving for it, but Kivior slipped. It's a free header from 6 yards out, and he's just maybe an inch or two, fraction just too far for him to be able to control it. But this was the ball, this was the cross we were talking about earlier, where Evan Nielsen wasn't there. This time he was. It's a free header from 6 yards out, best chance of the game, massive moment for Bournemouth. You're thinking, you've got your man there in the middle of the goal, needs to be taking it.
I'll tell you who wasn't there, any Arsenal defenders. I don't know where they were.
Kivior had slipped 12 yards out, but that was fortunate.
It was, and if he'd been able to head that in, that would have been spectacular. That would have been the classic flying header, but as you say, Rob, he just wasn't able to time it. I think it was just slightly behind him.
Yeah, I think also he's faced it rather than headed it, rather than, I'm not sure it was Raya's boot, but it came off his face.
As Arsenal come forward, the ball is played back to Kepa. Oh, he needed a strong touch there, a sure touch, which he did with Saka bearing down on him. Arsenal low press again. Trossard on the right-hand side. Trossard's ball into the box to Saka. Back to the edge of the area. Martinelli left foot. Pulls it wide. Just inside the box. The low shot, maybe 2 feet wide of the foot of the right post.
A let-off for Bournemouth is their own undoing, and it's risky football at the back to go back to Kepa, who does well to get it out of his feet and to play, but then again Kirkes sloppy on the ball, being caught. They're all over the place defensively, and it's just whether they can create the angle, create the opportunity. They did. Martinelli, too many touches onto his weaker foot, and a mishit strike on goal, a real let-off for Bournemouth.
This is 5 Live from the BBC. Arsenal 0, Bournemouth 0. Rob Green with us here, high in the stands at the Emirates Stadium. You can listen to 5 Live via BBC Sounds. All BBC Radio is there. You'll just find it on the BBC Sounds app wherever you go. And if you're listening on Sports Extra, you will hear right now Leinster 8, Northampton 10, because Northampton kicked that penalty. And back to Tyneside in the Super League Magic weekend. Sharon Shortle.
Rovers really in control. 2 tries in 3 minutes. The first from Petter Hiku off the back of some lovely play, the ball speed. And then Jez Litton going in after a great break from Mikey Lewis, who set off from within his own 30. Both converted by Arto Moog. It's Hull KR 24, Salford 0.
Arsenal coming forward with Lewis Skelly, who turns and then goes back towards the halfway line. There's a Bournemouth man down, and the referee is being roundly booed because he has stopped play just to see how Kluivert is, and I'm not sure there's going to be too much wrong with him.
No, there's a trailing arm as Lewis Skelly broke away. He knew he was behind him, and he's just pulled out an arm to stop him, and it's caught him in the face, and a finger in the eye, nothing more.
Oh, nothing more than a finger in the eye.
A strong finger in the eye.
So he's all right. Kluivert, and it's a drop ball, and Arsenal back in possession. I mentioned the Championship and League One. In League Two, if you haven't heard, Doncaster confirmed as champions, Doncaster Rovers. Bradford City dramatically promoted with Port Vale, and the playoffs in League Two will be Chesterfield against Walsall, Notts County against Wimbledon, Salford City miss out. More on all of that at half-time. But Arsenal come again. Saka on the right. Saka's ball back to Odegaard, 23 yards out in field, but Bournemouth well drilled. Kivior joins the attack now, just with the outside of his boot, rolls it out to Martinelli there. Martinelli plays it against the defender, comes back to him. Lewis Skelly and then all the way back into the centre circle to Saliba, and Bournemouth have forced Arsenal all the way back into their own half.
Yeah, it's good from Bournemouth, but you feel that Arsenal, when Lewis Skelly, and he's been told to do it, he cuts into the centre of midfield, they just naturally lose another player out wide in the shape, in the angles that they can create something. And so from there, it's easier to defend against. You can go narrow and force it back because they've only got the one option out wide, Arsenal.
Let's get another update from Dublin. Sounds like a thriller there. James Burridge.
Living up to the billing, John. Leinster with their second try, 15 points to 10. Josh van der Fleer in the right-hand corner, and Northampton down to 14 players with the Curtis Langan sent to the bin for 10 minutes. Leinster lead 15-10, 27 gone.
And a chance for Arsenal, and Trossard with a header that Kepa saves right on the goal line. Excellent work from Martinelli, bursting to the byline on the left, clipped it across, and Trossard leaning in, stretching, got his head to it, but it was saved right on the line by the Bournemouth goalkeeper.
Yeah, really well judged from Kepa. There's not really the pace in the header, but he's had to judge it to keep his hands in front of the line and his body behind the line, but then also keep your body weight forward enough to keep the momentum for the ball to be outside of the goal.
Bournemouth coming forward at the other end. It's still 0-0, and this is booze for Kluivert after the finger in the eye incident, as Adams plays it forward. Evan Nielsen. This is a bit of a familiar story, isn't it, with Arsenal that we're seeing develop here. Chances coming, chances going, no goals.
It was good work from Martinelli. There was no pace on the cross, and then from there was no real pace on the header. But I'm talking in tight games. They've drawn so many games this season, tight games where the chances have gone begging, and it comes back to the same old question of that centre forward in January. Where was it?
Yes, someone who will make the difference and turn the 13 draws that they've had this season into the wins that they need. And actually now the ball is played forward into the penalty area for the burst from Ouattara from centre field, and the challenge came in on him. Excellent challenge from Saliba, and Ouattara stayed down. I have to say, I thought he was in there until Saliba raced into the picture.
Well, it had to be a perfect tackle. He's just about got it right. Gone with his wrong foot, with his right foot coming across on the angle. I don't even think he got the first touch on the ball. Ouattara got the first touch, and then his touch comes in and does enough. And there's appeals from the Bournemouth players, but not from Ouattara. So expertly done from Saliba, and it needed to be.
Certainly did. Kept it at 0-0. Arsenal 0, Bournemouth 0. There has been another try in the Champions Cup semi-final. Back to Dublin, James Burridge.
And guess who scored it? Henry Pollock, the young pretender, dancing through the tackle of Prendergast. Wonderful inside ball, raced home to score to the left of the post. And Northampton, 14 players down. Curtis Langdon, remember, in the bin. Now lead Leinster as Finn Smith knocks over the conversion. 17-15 Northampton lead, 30 minutes gone.
And you will hear that right now on Sports Extra. It does sound dramatic. I was reading about him this morning in the paper, Henry Pollock. Here is Odegaard through the middle. Little pass to the edge of the area. This is the chance. Rice round the keeper and in. And Arsenal are in front. And it's Declan Rice, the hero of the moment. His 8th goal of the season. And he bows to the clock end to celebrate. Arsenal 1, Bournemouth 0.
Well, it's been what they've been missing, and he's been the most likely for Arsenal this afternoon. Declan Rice has been free to join in the attacks. He's been free to come out of midfield and make those runs, and from there, the left-hand side of the Bournemouth defence, Hoyton's got attracted in with Odegaard. That's created the space. Declan Rice has made the run. He's judged the run to perfection. The pass is judged to perfection. And then from there, the space was there to take the touch into. A little dummy for Kepa. And it's a brilliant finish to a really slick Arsenal move. Something, you say, has been missing in recent weeks.
Yeah, it was certainly missing on Tuesday night here against Paris Saint-Germain. And that for Declan Rice is 8th goal for Arsenal this season. 8 goals in a season. That's a new career personal best for Declan Rice.
Well, he was never allowed to take free kicks before.
But pushing up towards double figures. I think there's always been the feeling that he's capable of doing that. And he may yet do that this season. That's exactly the kind of thing that Arsenal will need on Wednesday night in Paris.
It has felt like today that Trossard has dropped in a bit more, joined in the midfield or come wide, and that's created space for Declan Rice to run into, who's allowed to be released a little bit higher. And I'm just wondering whether that is something, having a false 9 or a Trossard and not out-and-out number 9 that they don't have. He's recognising and saying, well, I can fill that role.
So 1-0 to Arsenal. Howson, right-footed and forward towards Evan Nielsen, who controls the ball and then looks to his right where Adams arrives onto it. Tyler Adams. Now to the right flank, Tavernier is there. Tavernier's ball back to near the centre circle, Zabani. And again, Adams, Bournemouth in possession halfway inside the Arsenal half. Mikel Arteta squeezes his hands together with an instruction for his players out there on the pitch. He's been frustrated the last couple of league matches here, I know very well. As Arsenal win it back, it was Declan Rice who dispossessed Cook, and now Odegaard, who set up that opening goal. The Arsenal captain takes the ball away from Kluivert, then Partey's there behind him, Thomas Partey to White, who allows the ball to run out towards the right-hand side. Rice is still there, the Arsenal goal scorer. Declan Rice with his left foot, Saka with a touch. This is for White, down the right, and then Kirkes, excellent challenge from the Bournemouth left-back, who plays the ball up the line but out of play, and it's a throw into Arsenal just in front of where Andoni Iraola is standing.
Declan Rice is everywhere, isn't he? He's to making tackles, making runs, and he just seems to have that magnetic energy to him where the ball gets attracted to him, or just the game in general gets attracted to him, which I'm sure it's not. It's him to the game.
1-0 to Arsenal. Declan Rice's goal, scored it in the 34th minute. Had already had a couple of chances in the match, but as well, the other thing about that was it's the Odegaard influence there. You know, he just simply wasn't involved enough on Tuesday night against Paris Saint-Germain here, and he's making himself available now. But the blend is there. You can see it, Partey and Odegaard and Rice. There's very much the first choice midfield.
Absolutely. When you think about what Odegaard's been like of recent seasons for Arsenal, this one I don't think has been up to scratch really for him. Yes, injuries have played a part, and Saka being out is a key role that he's lacked as a tool to use to slide passes into. But you're talking finite moments. Who do you want on the ball? It's Odegaard.
Here is Evan Nielsen, who drops deep. The signing from Porto last summer, a club record signing. But this Bournemouth move breaks down, and Arsenal have got it again on the halfway line to go back into their own half. Arsenal 1, Bournemouth 0. 2 more Premier League commentaries on 5 Live tomorrow. Brighton, Newcastle from 2 o'clock. Chelsea, Liverpool from 4:30. Important for Chelsea in the shake-up for these European places. And on Sports Extra, the Women's Super League Manchester derby first up, then Brentford, Manchester United and West Ham, Tottenham will be on the website tomorrow, the BBC Sport website. Half-time in the Super League now with you, Sharon Shortle.
And it's Hull KR's game is this one. 24 points to 0. They lead Salford Red Devils. 4 tries in the first half. Dean Hadley, Sam Luckley, Petr Hiku and Jez Litton all getting across the line, all converted by Arto Mogg. It's Hull KR 24, Salford 0.
So as I say, the Leinster-Northampton match is on Sports Extra right now. 17-15 to Northampton last we heard. And from 7:30, St Helens Leeds in the Super League in Newcastle will be on there on Sports Extra, while 6:06 is here on 5 Live. Saka had to control that ball against Evan Nielsen, but he did, and was able to play it back to Raya. And that big chance for Bournemouth that Evan Nielsen had, that could have put Bournemouth 1-0 up. Arsenal have had more of it, they've had more of the chances, but that was a big opportunity not taken.
Yeah, and you think, how many chances if you're going to come here and create, and you play well in good moments, and they had a good start. that almost signified the end of their good start to the game, didn't it? Maybe it woke Arsenal up a bit, I don't know, but you're looking at it thinking, we're only going to get 4 or 5 chances in the game. We need to take as many as possible.
Free kick, Tavernier was fouled, so it's a free kick in the middle of the Arsenal half. Bournemouth have already set a new record for them in terms of points in the top flight. 50 points, never won 50 points in the top flight before in the relatively short number of seasons that they've had in the top flight. This is their 3rd season back in the Premier League. Only promoted to the Premier League for the first time in 2015 under Eddie Howe. Free kick will be taken and curled in by Cook to the edge of the area, bounced off Howson's chest right into the path of Odegaard, who was able to volley it back to Lewis Cook, and then Araujo, and now Kirkes looks to the left. That's where Kluivert is. Kluivert just in front of the gesticulating Mikel Arteta. Howson with his socks halfway down his calves. Not often you see that from central defenders, but they've got a pair of them at Bournemouth. Zabani is the same, the Ukrainian international. Zabani again in possession, takes the ball from right to left and passes it to the feet of Howson, but Arsenal have forced Bournemouth all the way back to Kepa.
Talking about Arteta, and I saw on the BBC website how much do managers spend in their technical area. I've not seen Arteta in it yet.
Here is Kluivert bursting from deep. White trying to catch him. Still Kluivert curls it just over the top right corner. And in fact, I think Raya must have got a fingertip to that. He did. He's getting the low fives from Saliba and Kivior.
Yes, a little nick off Saliba did really well to get the block on. And it's broken out. Partey for once misreads one, doesn't quite get tight enough, and from there's the gap for Bournemouth to go into. And Saliba tracking across. Kluivert takes an extra touch, and it's really good defending because he goes to block one shot. Kluivert does well to take the extra touch, and he manages to adjust his feet to block it again. So good defending from Saliba again.
Yeah, deflected off the defender. Nowhere near. Raya was nowhere near it actually. Corner then for Bournemouth into the near post. White gets up and heads that away. Cook has got it under control, curls it in. Header from Evan Nielsen, which will drop onto the roof of the net. Raya was struggling there for a moment. Back into the goal, fell into the goal, but it landed comfortably onto the roof of the net.
There's a horrible moment as a goalkeeper where you just momentarily doubt yourself as to where you are, where the ball's going and where the goal is. And there was the reaction of David Raya, of a man who wasn't quite sure of any of those three.
Yes, I remember that feeling quite regularly many decades ago. Latest now, again, from James Burridge in Dublin.
John, it's absolute bedlam here at the Aviva. Northampton have scored 2 tries in 5 minutes, and Tommy Freeman has bagged a hat-trick. What a statement in front of the watching Andy Farrell as the Lions announcement takes place on Thursday. The shock of all shocks could be happening here as we watch Finn Smith line up the conversion attempt. They've had a player in the bin for 10 minutes, Northampton. They're 1 minute away from half-time and they lead by 27 points to 15 as Smith lines up the conversion. It misses, but my goodness me, a brilliant first 40 minutes from Northampton Saints. They lead 27-15 here against Leinster.
Yeah, sounds like quite an occasion. So James with Paul Grayson for the commentary on Sports Extra, and there will be a special on Monday night on 5 Live Sport from 9 o'clock on the selection of the Lions squad. White playing the ball back to Raya. Arsenal leading Bournemouth by 1-0. 1 minute to play at the end of this first half, plus added time, and we will have much more on the earlier events of the day at half-time with Mark Chapman. But Thomas Partey on the ball. Arsenal winning 1-0, deservedly so, but the outcome is far from certain.
No, and you're looking at Bournemouth, and they had that big chance with Evan Nielsen.
Oh, given away, and now Evan Nielsen will try to chip Raya, but got too much on it, and it dropped well over the top of the goal actually. And there we are.
Well, he's been under instruction. We've seen it. Mateta with Crystal Palace chip the goalkeeper, and he didn't need to. The chance had gone. Raya was scrambling back after giving it away, so that the opportunity was getting narrower and narrower. Kluivert was the pass, a slide pass into Kluivert. He's turned to him and saying, just give me the ball, I'm through on goal. And he's right.
You're right, it was very much like the Crystal Palace match here when Mateta produced the brilliant finish. Evan Nielsen couldn't match him. But just as in that Crystal Palace match, that was Arsenal giving the ball away. Raya's misdirected pass, but Evan Nielsen over the top. And Evan Nielsen's really, he's had the big chances, not been able to score them. And in 2 minutes of added time at the end of this first half, Arsenal 1-0 up through the Declan Rice goal.
Yeah, and David Raya did what all good goalkeepers do, is immediately blame someone else after making a mistake. So solid goalkeeping.
Excellent work as a lesson for all budding goalkeepers from Rob Green, former England goalkeeper. That's the way to do it. Here's Kirkes bursting forward from the halfway line. Bournemouth thinking that they might be able to find an equaliser before half-time, but the recovering Saka blocks the cross from Kirkes. Kluivert's there though. Kluivert's ball though in from the left flank, curls into the chest of Raya, who catches it.
There's plenty in this for Bournemouth going into the second half, and you just think, as minds drift towards the game against PSG for Arsenal, you're saying there is no way, shape or form we are out of this.
Arsenal with the ball in the gloves of David Raya. Long clearance from him. High, very high. Above our eye level, it was so high. Drops down. Martinelli's now got it on the left-hand side. Martinelli. And then Trossard out there on the left wing. Back towards the halfway line, where Lewis Skelly being watched again by Thomas Tuchel, having played in Tuchel's first 2 England matches. The World Cup qualifier against Andorra is next for England in June, next month, as Bournemouth, this Arsenal attack breaks down. Bournemouth bring it forward with Evan Nielsen. Evan Nielsen then, Kirkes is there, loves to get forward, doesn't he? And here's the cross, wrapped his foot around it on the left wing, but too much, and it lands in the opposite full-back position, and there is the half-time whistle from Jared Gillett. And Arsenal in this match that if they win, they know that will be just about it done in terms of Champions League qualification, i.e. a place in the top 5. 1-0 at half-time, but not over yet, Rob Green.
Absolutely not, and as you're saying, plenty in it for Bournemouth, plenty of opportunities. They've got the tools that can hurt Arsenal. It's just putting them all together, and whether it's been the finishing of Evan Nielsen or an errant pass through on goal, they've had the opportunities there. Declan Rice with a moment of quality for Arsenal, and at the moment it's saying that moment of quality is the difference.
Yep, Declan Rice in the headlines again. He's the scorer of the goal from Odegaard's pass. Arsenal 1, Bournemouth 0 at half-time here.
Second half on the way here on 5 Live. It's been a dramatic afternoon in the EFL. We will round everything up. Injury time goal giving Leeds the championship title ahead of Burnley. Luton going down with Plymouth and Cardiff. Leyton Orient getting the final playoff spot in League One. Bradford scoring in the 6th minute of second half stoppage time to seal automatic promotion and send Walsall into the playoffs. Chesterfield into the playoffs as well this evening in League Two alongside Notts County and AFC Wimbledon. And the drama is continuing in the Rugby Union Champions Cup semi-final. At half-time, listen to this score from Dublin. Leinster 15, Northampton 27. You can listen to that on Sports Extra. We'll join our team there shortly to get all the details. Magic weekend as well in Super League. Lee beat Catalan 26-24 earlier. Hull KR are demolishing Salford. They lead them 24-0 at half-time. 19 minutes past 6. Carl Hartley has the news.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Mark. Sir Keir Starmer has congratulated Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese after he won a second term in office. His Labour Party has received an increased majority, seeing off a coalition by the right-leaning National Liberal opposition. Here, senior figures in Labour and the Conservatives are spending the weekend considering the impact of the local election results in England, which saw both parties lose at large numbers of seats. Reform UK was the biggest winner, taking control of 10 councils and winning 2 mayoral races. A man has been arrested after a teenage boy was attacked by a group of armed adults on a beach in Devon yesterday evening. Officers say a large-scale disorder broke out on Back Beach in Teignmouth, with the boy suffering minor head injuries. And a Labour MP wants a rethink about banning football fans from drinking alcohol in the stands. York MP Luke Charters says it may be time for a change of the law, which was introduced in 1985 to try to combat hooliganism.
It's all eyes to the lights and foot to the floor.
On 5 Live.
Oscar Piastri wins the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix and takes the lead of the Formula One World Championship.
I want to be leading it after round 24, not round 5, but it's a good start.
Next up, Formula One heads back to America. Destination, Miami.
Tomorrow night from 9.
On 5 Live and BBC Sounds.
And download the Checkered Flag podcast for interviews, reaction and analysis.
This is 5 Live Sport.
With Mark Chapman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
5 additional minutes played of the 6 allocated. Tommy Lee lifts it up towards the edge of the area. Byrne tries to get underneath it. Lapsley will hit it. Deflected. It's in. That's the moment. That's the moment. In the dying seconds, Bradford City have found the goal that sends them automatically into League One. Pandemonium at Valley Parade. The fans flood the pitch. Can you believe it?
Well, that was how BBC Radio Leeds commentated on Bradford's second half stoppage time winner to claim promotion and break Walsall's hearts. Nick Hatton was at Valley Parade.
Yeah, it took a while, didn't it, Mark? But Bradford City got there in the end. Top of the table a month ago, but 2 points from their 4 matches heading into today. Took it into the final day. The simple equation was beat Fleetwood and City have their first promotion in 12 years. In truth, it was a pretty dull first half, which ended goalless. But news of that Walsall goal at Crewe meant that City, of course, had to win to take that third automatic promotion spot. Cue a nervy and edgy 24,000 packed into Valley Parade. City coming close through Jack Shepherd, who hit the post, had one cleared off the line. Anthony Sarcevic fired agonisingly over as well on the spin from 6 yards out. There was even a rumour that Crewe had equalised at home to Walsall as well. That sent the crowd wild for a few minutes or so. But Bradford's efforts looked as though they were going to be in vain as they entered that final minute of 6 of stoppage time. But as City threw everything towards the Kop, that shot from the edge of the box, deflecting off the shin of Anthony Sarcevic in the end on the 6-yard line. It wrong-footed the goalkeeper, and the spin on the ball meant it took an absolute age to roll into the far corner, and as soon as it crossed the line, cue absolute delirium here. 2 pitch invasions, flares and flags before referee Martin Coy finally got to blow that final whistle and send Valley Parade delirious with a third and final pitch invasion of the afternoon. We've had the presentation of the players and the staff and the management. There's still plenty of them still on the pitch as well. The loudest cheer there was for manager Graham Alexander in the end. After 5 previous managerial appointments, he is the man that takes the bantams up. Full time here at Valley Parade. Bradford City 1, Fleetwood Town 0.
And as I said earlier, just spare a thought for Walsall, long-time leaders of League Two. They hadn't won in their last 13 until they went to Crewe and beat them today. And with 96 minutes nearly on the clock at Valley Parade, they thought they were up, and then that goal denied them. Walsall are in the playoffs. They will face Chesterfield in those playoffs, AFC Wimbledon and Notts County, the other 2 teams, and they will meet each other. And Chesterfield are in form at the moment, so it'll be tough for Walsall. They've lost just one of their last 13, have Chesterfield. Right, let's go to Rugby Union's Champions Cup in Dublin. Leinster 15, Northampton 27 at half-time. Well, James Burridge.
Oh my goodness, Mark. I think we're all in shock. I think the Leinster crowd are in shock. Northampton had been quite simply outstanding in that first half. Bear in mind, they've played 10 minutes of it with a man down, Curtis Langan in the bin. A hat-trick for Tommy Freeman. And of course, it can't be a Northampton Saints game at the moment without Henry Pollock pulling off an absolute ripper of a try, beating Sam Prendergast for speed on the left-hand touch. Finn Smith has bossed his side in the first half too, and Paul Grayson has been purring alongside me, watching his old team producing the magic on the ultimate stage.
Well, earlier on today,
I said to Chappers it was virtually mission impossible for Northampton. We discussed it after that, and there are one or two ways you can combat this aggressive Leinster defence, and Northampton have done it perfectly. The three Saints, Tommy Freeman, Finn Smith and Henry Pollock have all said, Andy Farrell's in the ground somewhere, have all said, I want to go to Australia, thanks. Henry Pollock's try is ridiculous, even by his standards. They've done amazingly well. They've taken on a bit of water in the first half. The benches will still play a part in it, but Northampton have been full value for that lead at half-time.
And that's why, Mark, we do say there is a but here, because Geordie Barrett, the world-class New Zealand All-Black, hasn't come on the pitch, nor has Rabah Slimani, nor has Jack Conan. Jack Conan, the player who got over the ball in the last minute a year ago to stop Northampton coming back against them then. So we wait and see, but irrespective of where this game goes, frankly, that last 40 minutes was some of the most sublime rugby you will see by an English side in Europe.
If you fancy the second half, you can listen to it with James and Paul on Sports Extra. Back to the football. In the Championship, Luton relegated after a 5-3 defeat at West Brom, so back-to-back relegations for them. Here's their boss, Matt Bloomfield.
46 games has taken us to this point. To go down on 49 points on goal difference is obviously particularly painful, but it's been a long season and we have to really analyse where we're falling short, and we have to make sure we improve and come back.
Well, Hull survived on goal difference after a 1-1 draw at Portsmouth. Here's the owner of Hull, Achun Ilshalai.
What I would say to my fans, I am saying from all my heart. Last week I was around the stadium. I was walking around the stadium, and their energy to me was completely the same like the first day. I cannot be more happy than that the belief in us, even if we were about the relegation zone and maybe 50-50 relegation, they were still showing their love to me. Around the stadium, everybody just hugging me and saying their support to me. Nothing can be more valuable than that. And I want to mention that we will give everything for the next season to make them more happy. I love them all, and come on, Hull, I say.
The former Hull manager, to borrow his phrase, Liam Rossigna, is now in charge of Strasbourg, and they beat Paris Saint-Germain this afternoon by 2-1. We'll go to Miami next for the result of the rain-affected sprint race from Harry Benjamin.
It certainly was. After a few false starts, eventually things got going. Kimi Antonelli's heroics for pole yesterday undone immediately into turn one as Oscar Piastri took the lead in the McLaren. Then carnage in the closing stages. Collisions saw a safety car come out as the drivers were changing over to the dry tyres. That benefited second place man Lando Norris, who was able to hold on to the lead as his teammate Piastri had pitted before him, and Lando Norris was able to take that lead and convert it into a sprint win ahead of his teammate Oscar Piastri. Lewis Hamilton getting third, but the important stuff as well continues. We'll be qualifying for the Grand Prix later on today. The green light for that gets going at 9 o'clock.
Let's go to the County Championship next. Kevin Howells is at Headingley, where Joe Root has missed out on a century, Kevin.
Yeah, but I think he'll be really satisfied with this weekend's work in the end. He made only one in the first innings. The match itself is really nicely poised. Yorkshire 229 for 8. That's a lead of 181 runs over Warwickshire. But this is Root's first game of the summer and only game before England's Test summer begins against Zimbabwe later this month. As I say, out really cheaply first time round. Out today to the very impressive Ethan Bamber, bowling so well. Earlier, Harry Brooke was LBW for 20. Good Warwickshire attack, good bowling conditions. Root will be happy, if disappointed, of course, not to have got that century. Quick mention for Zach Crawley down at Lords, another England player. He made 68 today for Kent, 226 for 4, lead Middlesex by 117 runs.
Thank you, Kevin. Let's go to the Premier League. It finished at Goodison, Everton 2, Ipswich 2. Ipswich had been 2-0 down. Here's Kieran McKenna with Gary Flintoff.
How much character did your side show to come back from 2 down today?
Yeah, a lot. I think that's a really difficult position to be in, to be honest. Stage of the season, stage where we're at with, availability and the challenges we've had over the last few weeks and coming into the game and trying to sort of get a team out there that can be competitive. And I thought we had a reasonably, even start to the game, a decent start to the game, but 2 moments from them and you're 2-0 down and, is in our position, then that could go one way or the other. So really proud of the way that they stuck at it. Of course, it took a great goal from Julio to get us back in it, but it also took for him to still be there working for the team at 2-0 down, and he was doing that. So, we get back into it with a great goal, and I think we played some good football, to be honest, and limited Everton pretty well. Played some good football and were good value for a couple of goals.
How much do you believe that momentum between now and the end of the season will be carried into next season in the Championship?
Not really, to be honest, no. I think it's really important that we finish properly and we, represent the club properly, and we do the journey that we've been on over the last years justice with how we perform, and we do the support that we've had all season justice. And if we don't do that, then you can certainly carry a negative momentum. If we give everything as we have been doing, then we know we're in a strong position going into the summer.
Match of the day, 10:30 tonight on BBC One. First game of Magic Weekend was tight as Lee beat Catalan 26-24. The second game of Magic Weekend isn't, Sharon Shortall.
Absolutely right, Mark. We're just waiting to see if James Batchelor's got the second try of the afternoon. All eyes on the screen for the video referee's decision at the moment. But it's still 24-0, which is how it was at half-time. Hull KR scoring 4 tries in that first half. Salford have had the better of the play so far in the second. Nathan Connell going extremely close. But immediately after he knocked on over the try line, Rovers have gone the full length of the field. And now we're waiting to see if James Batchelor has added more points. But as it stands, it's Hull KR 24, Salford 0.
So if you want the second half of that astonishing Champions Cup semi-final in Rugby Union between Leinster and Northampton, it is on Sports Extra. Later on BBC Television, you've got the conclusion of the second semi-final at the snooker. Mark Williams 13-11 up on Judd Trump. And right now you've got the second half from the Emirates. Arsenal lead Bournemouth by 1-0. Back to Rob and John.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, the players are just heading towards the tunnel right now. Arsenal leading Bournemouth by 1-0. Here come Arsenal, led out by the man who created the opening goal for Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard. I don't see any changes down there, nor would I necessarily expect them. Plenty of youngsters on the bench again for Arsenal, including 17-year-old Braden Clark, actually for this match, Welsh under-17 central defender, who is the son of Nigel Quasi. So Arsenal having to dig deep into the youth ranks, but the team who are in a huddle now, still no sign of Bournemouth. Arsenal with Raya in goal, White, Saliba, Kivior and Lewis Skelly, Partey, Odegaard and Rice the midfield, and Saka, Trossard and Martinelli. And Bournemouth, whose players are just appearing in their deep lagoon green kit. Kepa, Arrizabalaga, the goalkeeper, and then Araujo, Zabani, Howson and Kirkes, Cook and Adams, Tavernier, Kluivert, Ouattara and Evan Nielsen. So Bournemouth will have to come from behind Rob Green, but I think the evidence of their season suggests even here at the Emirates, that's not beyond them.
No, any evidence this afternoon as well, John, and it's something that you turn around and say, how well can we play in a half? Arsenal are going to have periods of time on the ball. They've got quality players, and you may well actually go a goal down, but you're going to go into a game saying, how many chances can we create? How much composure can we have on the ball? And look to cause Arsenal problems. They certainly did that enough in the first half to encourage them for this second.
Andoni Iraola, just watching him from up here in our high commentary position, leaves the tunnel and walks to the right and takes his seat. Two managers from the Basque Country, Arteta and Iraola, who used to play together in youth football in the name of the team was Antiguoco in the 1990s when they were just little boys, and here they are now, managers on opposite sides in the Premier League, in the top half of the Premier League. Free kick, which has been disputed by Arsenal and has been given to Bournemouth by referee Gillett. So the first minute of the second half, Bournemouth going all the way back to goalkeeper Kepa, who made a decent save in the first half to keep out Trossard. Other Arsenal chances as well, notably for Rice, but as Rob Green has said, Bournemouth had theirs as well. So the choice of listening right now, that thrilling Champions Cup semi-final over on Sports Extra. Leinster 15, Northampton 27, with James Burridge and Paul Grayson, but we'll make regular visits there on 5 Live as we watch Arsenal winning 1-0 against Bournemouth, but Bournemouth on the attack, and Zabani's pass over the top asks too much of Kluivert, and it bounces through for Raya, who's right out towards the edge of the area. And, you know, in normal circumstances, this match, Arsenal would love to get themselves 2-3 goals up, make changes with Wednesday in mind. But, as I say, relatively thin on the bench, and he can't take any chances.
No, he can't. And you're just wondering how much, really, what the opportunities of actually going to get 2-3 up. I'm not sure that's really going to happen. Arteta clearly doesn't trust a lot of the players on the bench, or they haven't earned that trust because they are so young. So it's really a tricky situation for Mikel Arteta in balancing everything, or whether, as the modern day way is, sports science and physio departments will turn around and go, he's got to come off.
Yeah. Poor pass out there from Raya again, overhit it through the middle, trying to find Odegaard, who couldn't do anything with it. And Bournemouth are back in possession, and they go back into their own half. And honestly, at the moment, the Emirates Stadium is probably only 2/3 full. Where are they all?
There's some really good food here, John.
Well, clearly. But, well, I just find it's rather strange that there aren't more of them back in their seats, particularly in the middle zone, the second tier of the stadium. Here is Howson for Bournemouth, tried to slip a pass down the left wing. Saka cut it out. He read the pass from Howson. Now Odegaard runs away from Cook. Odegaard all the way through the middle. Bournemouth defenders chasing back. Rice to his right, chips it across. Martinelli, then back to Trossard, and then Cook with a challenge on Trossard. However, still Martinelli. Martinelli's cross took a deflection, headed down by Saka, and bounces away. And in fact, I think it hit Declan Rice, who was in an offside position, and it's a free kick to Bournemouth.
Well, it's almost comical. Declan Rice is laughing. He can't believe he's actually managed to be offside because Saka's heading the ball. Saka's laughing because he's managed to 50p head it almost backwards. But between them, somebody shoot, somebody get the shot away. And we're talking about clinical edge of Arsenal, or the lack of it. There it was in abundance.
Well, if Bournemouth come back into this, they'll be laughing on the other side of their faces. And Kirkes bringing the ball forward powerfully for Bournemouth, crosses it right across the box, and Tavernier sliding in feet first, couldn't get there, and the ball runs out next to the corner flag for a goal kick to Arsenal. Again, Kirkes, it's almost been like a show reel of what he's capable of as an attacking left back this match.
Well, I was just about to say, John, that was too quick and too good for his teammates. He just did it, got it out his feet, and whipped the perfect ball across the back line. He's there going, well, if I had a couple of teammates a bit quicker, we'd have been 1-1.
It is 1-0 to Arsenal. 5 Live from the BBC. Odegaard in his own half. Odegaard, lovely drift to take it past Tyler Adams and then pass it to Declan Rice, who's on the left wing, just down below us, cutting infield, right-footed cross. Howson's able to get up, head it down, and that's cleared away by Ouattara up towards the halfway line, where Evan Nielsen just has his legs clipped by Declan Rice. How did he end up back there? Declan Rice on the left wing a moment ago. And then he's putting in a challenge on the halfway line, underlining what you were saying about him in the first half.
It's just an incredible energy, isn't it, that he's got, that just keeps going, and the strides he makes up and down the pitch, the ground he covers, it's just fantastic.
Referee Gillett is just going to have a word with Lewis Cook and Adams, and still they're talking to one another. What is Cook complaining about here? He's certainly making a point, isn't he, to the referee? It's a free kick that Bournemouth will take. Bournemouth looking to add to the pain of Mikel Arteta, who's talking about how painful it had been this week to watch Liverpool confirmed as the champions and then losing here to Paris Saint-Germain. Arsenal still not absolutely certain of a top 5 finish, but this would just about do it. However, it is a precarious lead, 1-0. Clearance from Raya, that's a heavy touch from Odegaard, he's given it away. And here is Cook, the Bournemouth number 4. Now to the right-hand side, Kluivert with a cross. Evan Nielsen throwing himself at that. Cleared away though. So Arsenal, Kivior got there with a header first. However, it's won back by Tavernier through the middle, who might have been clipped by Trossard. No free kick given, that's debatable. And Trossard wins the ball back for Arsenal as well. Thought that might have been a free kick, Rob, and then Odegaard is fouled. That is a free kick to Arsenal though.
Yeah, and you see the arguments, you can see the complaints, but Bournemouth attacking in such intent and such numbers. Zabani's way into the Arsenal half. They're leaving great big holes at the back for Arsenal to attack into.
In the current match at the Magic Weekend in the Super League, Hull KR had a big lead against Salford. Has it got bigger, Sharon Shortle?
It certainly has. 36-0 now the scoreline. The try from James Batchelor confirmed by the video referee, and then Noah Booth squeezing in at the corner, taking a lovely pass from Petter Hiku. The conversion, one on the left touchline, one on the right touchline, both successful from Arto Moog. Hull KR 36, Salford 0.
Arsenal on the attack inside the Bournemouth box, and in the end Saka shooting from an angle, but Bournemouth had defenders back and it was deflected wide and behind for Arsenal's first corner of the second half.
Yeah, they attack with such pace and intensity, Arsenal, and then they reach the penalty area and Trossard always comes to a standstill. And you're thinking, players are watching him, and Bournemouth players are stood there just going, well, what are you going to do? And eventually the numbers get back and the opportunity gets ushered out, but you're thinking, when they do get in those spaces, you've just got to go, and they're just not doing it now.
1-0 to the Arsenal. That section of supporters in that corner of the North Bank stand get a chance to applaud Bukayo Saka, who's over there next to them for the first time today to take this corner. There's a lot of wrestling going on. Saka plays it into the near post, and that's headed firmly away and well away by Howson, who stepped forward and got his head to it. This 20-year-old defender, what a season he has had alongside Zabani. Comes back for Arsenal. Lewis Skelly plays it across here to Martinelli, gets the ball out from underneath his feet. We're going to go to Dublin again in a moment, but Martinelli looking to get it in, right-footed. Here's the cross. Kepa comes, collides with Howson, and it's headed goalwards by Saka, but straight at Kepa, who was back on his goal line. So to Dublin then. James Burridge, what's the news?
Welcome. Another simple mistake from the Saints, though, back in their own 22.
Might just try again there with James Burridge.
John, yes, hardly hear ourselves think here as Leinster get on the scoreboard. A try from their captain, from Caelan Doris, down on the left-hand side, and Geordie Barrett, the All Black, has now come onto the pitch, but the momentum has really swung back Leinster's way. 10 minutes into the second half, Leinster 22, Northampton 27.
Well done, James, thank you very much. James with Paul Grace and the commentary on Sports Extra. Commentating and also reporting on the same match, Rob, is a little bit like trying to pat your head and rub your tummy at the same time.
Yeah, I failed a few times on Thursday trying to do that with Ali.
Did you? Yeah, of course you were at Tottenham, weren't you, on Thursday night? As Trossard wins a free kick, centre field free kick to Arsenal. Incidentally, the second leg of you got that the wrong way around, Rob, because the second leg of Bodo Glimt Tottenham will be on 5 Live on Thursday night, and our intrepid band of the commentary team will be heading there, but it won't be you. It's going to be Paul Robinson who's going there to the Arctic Circle with Alistair Bruce Ball.
I wonder if Thomas Tuchel will be going without his coat for that one.
I think that, well, maybe he will. Here is Trossard on the edge of the area. Takes it on down into the full-back position. Araujo is as tight can be on the Belgian. Trossard's trying to turn him, and in the end the ball runs behind. Trossard's furious. He feels that the final touch was off the Bournemouth right back, or that he should have got a free kick or something, but he hasn't got anything. It's a goal kick to Bournemouth.
I think it's fair to say he felt that was unfair, and he just got hounded out of it. Araujo's, I think, relieved it wasn't Martinelli for once.
So it's a goal kick to Bournemouth. We were talking on the Commentators' View podcast this week with Alistair Bruce Ball about his plans and how they're going to get to the Arctic Circle, so you'll be able to hear that on the BBC Sounds. If you search the Football Daily feed, you will find it there. Always very welcome to have your emails as well to tcv@bbc.co.uk. Arsenal coming forward. Lines open for 606, by the way. 08 085 909 693. So much to talk about if you're at any of the matches, the dramatic matches up and down the country today, and are bursting to talk about it. Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton will be wanting to hear from you. Lewis Skelly, lovely ball through. Saka left side of the area. Back onto his right foot. Curls it! Oh, wide. I don't know how that didn't go in. From here, that's almost defied science that didn't curl into the top corner, but instead, over the top, goal kick.
Everyone, as soon as he struck it, said goal. And there's a fantastic ball in, wonderfully measured from Lewis Skelly, and Saka drifted all the way across the pitch and worked a really good chance for himself.
Great reaction from the crowd there as well, seeing it on the big screen. Bournemouth coming forward, but Lewis Skelly's able to step forward and half-volley it away towards the halfway line. That was a little bit like if you're at the Test match and it's shown on the big screen.
Yes.
And it's, I don't know, a googly that turns through, turns 45 degrees and goes through the gate and bowls, and you get a gasp like that. This ball's played over the top down the left-hand side. Kirkes drives, he sliced it straight out of play. You know that show reel I was talking about?
Yeah.
They can edit that one out.
Yeah. I had one of those moments playing Chelsea, and Gianfranco Zola flicked it through his legs into the top corner, and no one would restart the game until we'd all watched the replay on the big screen.
Is that right?
Yeah, double the pain.
Did you watch it?
Oh, I still couldn't work out what had happened.
No, you had to watch it. Arsenal 1, Bournemouth 0. That's Rob Green, who's sitting to my left here, looking down on Martinelli, and then Partey lifting the ball forward for Zabani to get there first for Bournemouth and pass the ball back to Kepa. Plays it out to the right-hand side. Mention the fact that Kepa is on loan from Chelsea. Of course, Neto is not able to be on the bench for Arsenal today, being as he is on loan here at the Emirates from Bournemouth. So Tommy Setford is on the bench again for Arsenal. Oh, that's a turn of pace there from Ouattara down the left. Ouattara's ball across the penalty area, but Raya anticipating it well out of his 6-yard box. Caught it, sliding out, and then was impeded by Evan Nielsen as he was trying to underarm the ball away. And Evan Nielsen, red card last weekend, yellow card today.
Yeah, well, just moments before, you look at Ouattara, saw it, a glimpse of it in the first half. There he got half a yard on Ben White and had gone before Ben White could even turn. And you're looking at Jurrien Timber being out potentially for the game against PSG. The options they've got on that left-hand side and the players that they can interchange with, that could be a problem.
Yes, although there does seem to be a problem over Ousmane Dembele, doesn't there? After he went off, they say it's a hamstring problem. So if that's the case, he won't be able to play on Wednesday if it's a hamstring injury. So we'll find out more about that over the course of the next couple of days. But of course, if they don't have him, then they can play Barcola and Doué, Kvaratskhelia, and Gonzalo Ramos is not bad.
He was an out-and-out centre-forward, which is not seemingly part of their plans. Luis Enrique doesn't want one.
So you'll be able to listen to us there. We'll have the build-up on Tuesday night as well. Hear what Luis Enrique and Mikel Arteta have to say about it, as Saliba was very nearly caught in possession by Evan Nielsen, but a stretch from the Frenchman was able to play the ball back to his goalkeeper. So yes, the build-up on Tuesday. I noticed in the match programme today, Martin Odegaard was saying, just as Mikel Arteta said on Tuesday night, it is only half-time in the tie. Bournemouth coming forward. Ball's deflected though to Trossard. And now forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Saka's onto this in the box. Saka lays it back. Odegaard now, a little bit of space in the D, wanted too long. And Cook was able to make the challenge, and then Cook's able to pass it away. The Martin Odegaard of last season, I would have backed him to score there.
Yeah, second-guessed himself, lack of confidence, too many touches, just had no conviction on the edge of the area whatsoever. And you think, John, the amount of times these players practice this before the game, during the week, just getting it out of the feet, getting the ball away and getting that strike away. And it's a mental thing. That's all it is, that he got there and just went, no. And I'm not sure how many tens of thousands of people are here, but all of them were baying for him to shoot.
So it remains 1-0 to Arsenal. I can tell you, Mark mentioned it at half-time, that Liam Rossigna's Strasbourg have beaten PSG today. So that is another defeat. They did lose for the first time domestically this season before the first leg, when they lost at home to Nice, but now they've lost to Strasbourg. And I'll just run you through the team when I get a chance. Here's Trossard. Trossard into the area, crosses it, deflected to the edge of the area. Rice on his right foot, but Ouattara appeared and was able to whip it away to the halfway line. PSG's team today, Rob, Safonov was in goal, not Donnarumma. Tape, Beraldo and Hernandez were the central defenders. João Neves, Zaire Emery, and Mayulu in midfield as Bournemouth come forward. It's flicked towards Tavernier by Kluivert. Tavernier, all left foot, edge of the area, moving from right to left, and then in comes the challenge from Saka, which blocks it back to Howson. And then on his right foot, Howson's ball, couldn't find a ball to Tavernier on the edge of the area. That was blocked by Rice. Comes back to Adams for Bournemouth, and now Kluivert turns and shoots wildly over the top of the crossbar and behind for a goal kick. And the rest of that lineup, Rob, Lee, Mbai, Gonzalo Ramos and Barcola. So much changed. PSG team today.
Potentially 2 players out of that could start in the week.
Yep, João Neves, Barcola,
potentially. That's it.
Yeah. So Luis Enrique is able to make all of those changes. League title already wrapped up. Arsenal, because of recent failings, not being able to win here against Brentford and Crystal Palace. He's had to name a strong team, and this is still in the balance. White though, surging run forward, back to Rice, now into the area on the left. Martinelli curls it goalwards, but it didn't catch it really, and it just curled straight at via a deflection, which took the pace off it at Kepa Arrizabalaga, who was able to catch it in front of his face.
Yeah, Bournemouth have decided to press a bit higher and a bit more open, and it suited Arsenal a little bit, but the whole game's come a little bit more ragged and a little bit sort of end to end, and I'm not sure that suits Arsenal particularly, the amount of energy they're having to put in just chasing up and down the pitch.
1-0 it is, and the Leinster-Northampton match continues on Sports Extra a little bit later tonight. St Helens Leeds will be on Sports Extra from 7:30, while 6:06 is here on 5 Live, and then at 9 o'clock there will be commentary on the Miami Grand Prix qualifying, and you'll hear that via the BBC Sport website. You'll find it there, be able to click on it and listen to it with Damon Hill, part of our commentary team, as Odegaard is upended on the halfway line by Ouattara, who is shown an instant yellow card from Jared Gillett, and then was that Trossard who even though the whistle had gone, shot goalwards from the halfway line.
It could only be one person. It was Declan Rice.
Of course it was. But it's a free kick to Arsenal, and we're going to see a couple of Bournemouth changes now, and that's it for Kluivert after his shot over the crossbar. He's going to be booed off. Kluivert, who was on Football Focus earlier, and as they all cotton onto it, a big chorus of boos for the way that he went down in the first half. So Araujo, and this was his first start, Araujo, since coming back after a hamstring operation. So Andoni Iraola is bringing on Antoine Semenyo and also Alex Scott. So a little bit of a rejig here, Rob, you would think.
Cook's gone into right back, which he's done a lot, hasn't he? And Scott's into midfield, which is no great surprise there. No great surprise that Araujo's lasted about an hour. Semenyo out onto this right-hand side, and Tavernier in as a number 10 effectively, really. So a little rejig, but it'll be interesting to see Lewis Skelly against Semenyo down here on the Arsenal left, Bournemouth right.
Yes, it will. Semenyo with the 11 goals that he scored in all competitions this season, and it is the ball with Kirkes, but he couldn't clear it. It was deflected into the penalty area. Zabani heads it down, and Howson's there in front of Trossard to swing it away with his right foot up towards Semenyo. It gets his first touch of the match. 1-0 to Arsenal it is on 5 Live, and then it's played forward by Tavernier, and now it's Semenyo off down the right wing, and he's got lots of space, and that's a terrible touch. As he ran into the penalty area, took a heavy touch, which effectively gave Saliba the green light to step across and put it out of play.
Yeah, that was shocking, really. Half the pitch to run into, and got all the way into the penalty area. He never truly looked in control of the ball, and one touch was under his feet, the other touch was way too far out of his feet. He was continually trying to look up to see what was in the penalty area of who to hit, but forgot the basics.
So it's a throw in after it was put out of play, and it was B. Semenyo himself who will take this. Stands off the pitch, down the slope, up he comes, takes the long throw to the edge of the 6-yard box. Howson with a header, it's in! Off the post! Raya diving to his right, couldn't get there, and Howson makes it 1-1, and that's what Arsenal feared. They're not certain yet of a place in the Champions League for next season. And Howson, fists clenched, punches the air, and all of those Bournemouth fans in the corner. Remember, they've never got anything away from home against Arsenal, Bournemouth, and it's now 1-1.
Well, it might be simple, but it's brilliantly effective. Just get it in there, get your big men in there, virtually unchallenged, just gets up and glances a wonderful header into the far corner. You're thinking, how's he going to get this on target? How's he going to beat David Raya? Well, he's done both of them. Just a little nudge in the back of Declan Rice, and then it is executed perfectly, because it's a wonderful header. He's asking everything of him, and he's just done it and brought them back level. I'm saying this was plenty in this for Bournemouth. Well, there certainly is now.
There really is. And of course Manchester City will be interested in this, on the run that they're on. Second place could be up for grabs, and Arsenal might be sweating, depending on the other results. It's not done yet. It was mentioned yesterday to Mikel Arteta that a top 5 finish wasn't certain. I mean, they should do it, but they do have Liverpool away, Newcastle at home, but then Southampton away in their final match of the season. And we knew coming into this that 2 wins would be enough. And Arsenal won, Bournemouth won, so all square here. What about the big semi-final in Dublin? James Burridge asking him.
We're just trying to catch our breath again, John Murray, because Northampton have scored their 5th try. James Rahm's gone through after we've witnessed a try from Leinster, and this game just keeps getting better and better. Northampton 35, Leinster 27, and Finn Smith with a vital conversion to come.
35-27. It is on BBC Sounds right now, where you can always pause, rewind and listen again. If you ever come to any of the matches and have seen it for yourself, want to know what it sounds like on 5 Live, you can listen again. And this one could be a red letter day for Bournemouth. Although a long ball downfield, Kepa has come a long way and he gets there. Cook knew that he was coming, even though Martinelli was on the chase, and the Bournemouth goalkeeper popped it out of play, probably 40 yards from his goal.
A little heart and mouth moment for Kepa. He just, again, judged it really, really well, but it took a long time for it to get to him. That ball over the top of Cook now to Martinelli, there's certainly a difference in pace between the two of them. That's something Arsenal can exploit.
Yes, Cook, who I remember playing for England back in the early Southgate years, his 1 cap for England. It's a throw in for Arsenal. Lewis Skelly to take this. 1-1 the score. Lewis Skelly waiting. Takes the throw down the line. That's asking a lot of Martinelli, who all he could do was pop it out of play because it was at such pace. He got there, but it bounced out off his right foot for a throw into Bournemouth in the right back position. Bournemouth have certainly stolen a few yards. Cook, he takes about a 6-inch step backwards and then actually takes another step forward. So in the end took it as far away from where it should have been taken as he ever did. Semenyo up the right wing, but then Partey's in with the challenge. So Semenyo inadvertently ending up with a long throw after that terrible touch that he took. It was cleared out of play.
I was wondering, John, that whether it was kind of a cunning plan that fooled us all.
If that was a cunning plan, then that was of monumental proportions.
He should put his boots on his hands.
Yes. It's almost a Baldrick cunning plan for those who remember that. Here is Evan Nielsen in the centre circle. Evan Nielsen out to the left-hand side. 1-1. Actually, Baldrick cunning plans never worked, did they?
Never really got the opportunity, did he?
Here's Howson. He was the man who headed it in. An excellent header. Arsenal, the set-piece kings, undone by A Bournemouth long throw, and here they are again. Kirkhouse's ball in, but that was crucially headed away and then nicked away brilliantly by Martinelli, but Cook was able to turn and put the challenge in, and it bounced back towards the edge of the area. And we're going to see Mikel Merino coming on for Arsenal after he was one of the 2 players who were left out today. There's no Jurriën Timber, so Mikel Arteta later will tell us how he is. He is here. We have seen him sitting in the stands, the Arsenal defender. And Alex Scott doing well now. Scott into the action for the first time. The former Bristol City midfielder plays it past his man on the edge of the box. It was Partey, but then couldn't latch on to it beyond that. Arsenal can't get it away on the edge of their own box. Partey, who's been put under pressure by Scott, is able to play it to the right, where Saliba loses out. Now here's Tavernier, then to the left-hand side, and Ouattara with the cross, and that's taken down by Tavernier, who shoots, but via a deflection off Lewis Skelly, which carried it up and wide and high, and it's a corner to Bournemouth now.
Yeah, real momentum with Bournemouth now. Their fans away to the right-hand side are behind them and sensing this is a big opportunity for them. There's a freneticism about the game that really doesn't suit Arsenal. It suits Bournemouth down to a T. They've got a problem. They're saying someone's injured, but Mikel Merino's the current sub. Thinking who's coming on. There's conversations going on with the Bournemouth dugout saying they need to make a sub as well.
Yeah, the calling looks as though it's Ouattara, isn't it? Who's now sat down in the penalty area, and they are rather hurriedly preparing to make a change. So we might have a little break here, because Ouattara is also going to be looked at. Physio's running onto the field, so play will resume with a Bournemouth corner. Arsenal 1, Bournemouth 1. So let's get an update while we've got a stoppage here from Sharon Shortle, who's at St James's Park.
And Hull KR are on course for their biggest ever winning margin at Magic Weekend. 2 more tries, the first from Jezlet and the second from him. Just good support play, saw him cross. And then Artur Moog on the back of a great break from Tyrone May. 8 out of 8 for Artur Moog as far as conversions are concerned. So it means it's Hull KR 48, Salford 0.
And Arsenal are replacing Declan Rice. Their goal scorer is leaving the field with just over 15 minutes to play, and Ouattara, so Merino is on to replace him, and Ouattara is going to be replaced by David Brooks, the Welsh international. So it's a corner to Bournemouth. Brooks just being sent onto the field now. Declan Rice, by the way, I know he seemed to have that knock in the first half, but shrugged it off. He's walking freely. He's being applauded all the way back to the halfway line, and obviously, as you will well know, will have to be a pivotal figure in the Parc des Princes on Wednesday night. 5 Live, the place to listen to that live from inside the stadium. Bournemouth with this corner, which is headed across goal by Tavernier, and it's in! It's in at the back post. Evan Nielsen might have come off the defender. Odegaard was there with Evan Nielsen, but it's in the back of the Arsenal net, and Bournemouth have turned this around, and they might be on for their first away win against Arsenal. 2-1 Bournemouth lead here at the Emirates.
And it's the stuff of dreams for Bournemouth fans away in the far corner. Another set piece, really well executed again. A run to the near post, a flick on. And Evan Nielsen, really good centre forward play. He's up against Odegaard. Odegaard facing the wrong direction. He has no idea where the ball is. And Evan Nielsen is just there, wrestling away, just enough of a presence to say, I'm going to get something on it, and does enough. It's a complete turnaround from Bournemouth. It's been a brilliant second half for them.
2 goals in round about 8 minutes for Bournemouth, who lead by 2 goals to 1. They might do the double over Arsenal this season. Beat them 2-0 down in Dorset in the first half of the season. We've got a stoppage here, and there is a possible offside, which must be Evan Nielsen. And
I don't see.
As the ball comes in, are they suggesting that it might be off his arm?
Yeah, I can't see how it's offside, because there's a player clearly in and around the goalkeeper.
This is going to be almost impossible to see, because I think it might. We're just watching a sort of frame by frame replay of this, and it looks as though it might bounce up into his forearm, and the two of them were together. Yeah, possible handball, that's what they're looking at. The caption's changed, and it was very awkward. Odegaard and Evan Nielsen were tangling together.
Well, it's a strange, there's two angles that they've got which give any sort of evidence. One is blocked off by the post and the players block off the other angle. In the VAR booth, there is no possible evidence to say that this has come off the arm. So I think this will stand because it's just inconclusive. And this is all they've got to go off.
Okay, we're now seeing another angle that's blocked by Odegaard. I thought the first angle was the one that made it look most like it came off the forearm. And now they're coming up with another, they've found another angle, and I think, oh no, that looks like it's off his body.
Yeah, I can't see that they're saying they know that this has come off the arm. And you have to know, you have to be 100% certain, and I can't be 100% certain, and I don't think anyone can.
And this is definitely the best angle. It's a sort of high side-on angle, and yet the goal's given. Those are Bournemouth cheers that you can hear in the corner of the Emirates, and they came, the Cherries fans, probably more in hope than expectation, but they're winning 2-1. And Arsenal might yet still have work to do to get a Champions League place for next season. The team in the semi-finals of the Champions League this season. Of course, they could yet go on and win the Champions League.
Yeah,
and then qualify that way. But this is quite the tale of the unexpected.
Well, it's been a terrific second-half performance from Bournemouth. They've risked it. They've gone on more aggressive on the ball, off the ball, and they were slightly controlled in the first half how they went about it. Kepa now on the ball. Look at him, he's barely touched the ball in this second half. You have to say, they really have been dominant and looked really good coming forwards. Ironically, two set pieces. One of Arsenal's great strengths has been their downfall.
And here, another long ball, Howson heading it forward, but Raya was able to catch that. Raya wasn't able to keep it out of the net. The sort of deflection goalwards, which was inside the 6-yard box as Saka is upended by Howson on the halfway line. It is full-time in the Super League at St James's Park in the middle match. Sharon Shortle.
One-way traffic in this one. It's finished Hull KR 54, Salford 0. A second try just before the hooter from Arto Moog, who's had a flawless afternoon with the boot, converting all 9 of Rovers' tries. Difference in class, simple as that. It finished Hull KR 54, Salford 0.
Thanks, Sharon. Earlier, tight win for Lee against Catalans, and St Helens leads from 7:30. That will be on Sports Extra. Right now on Sports Extra, Northampton 37, Leinster 27 in Dublin. So that is on Sports Extra. Here on 5 Live, 6:06 on the way. Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton waiting to take your calls on 08 085 909 693. Hashtag BBC 606, text 85058. They should do very good business with all of those issues decided in the Football League today. And I'm sure there'll be Bournemouth fans on travelling home if it stays like this, with Tavernier in possession. He was the man who got the contact, wasn't he, from the corner at the near post to deflect it, head it across the face of goal, and then Evan Nielsen and Odegaard together at the back post. And Raya on the line, couldn't keep it out, scrambling for it, but it was through in and into the back of the net, and Bournemouth leading through Evan Nielsen, sent off last Sunday, red card overturned on Tuesday, scores at the Emirates on Saturday.
Well, the right decision made eventually on all fronts.
Thought that might have been a free kick, but Scott was able to take it away. Saka had been challenged by Kirkes back to the left-hand side. Semenyo's over there now since the change was made, with David Brooks coming on. So Zabani in possession on the halfway line. Bournemouth looking for a third goal that you would think would finish Arsenal off here. Do you remember a couple of years ago? I say they never got anything here, Bournemouth. A couple of years ago, it was 2-2 deep in added time. You remember the Reece Nelson winner in the 7th minute of added time, which won it 3-2 for Arsenal then. Back to Dublin. James Burridge, what's the news?
Another try, this time for James Lowe and Leinster. It's a 3-point game now, John. 9 minutes to go. 34 Leinster, 37 Northampton.
9 minutes to go in Dublin. James Burridge and Paul Grayson with that on Sports Extra. 9 minutes to go here at the Emirates, and Bournemouth closing in on something that AFC Bournemouth have never done before. And in doing that, if they won this, that would take them up to 53 points. And they are still very much interested, potentially, in a place in Europe next season. It would also extend their record for the most number of points that they've ever won in a top-flight season. It's been that good for Bournemouth this season under Andoni Iraola, who's standing there on the edge of the coaching area. Mikel Arteta was saying, remembering how they played together, and indeed his career with Athletic Bilbao, he described him as a very smart player. Well, he's turned into a very smart manager as well.
Yep, and they've done a number today on him. You're thinking, after going a goal down, how would they respond and how would they go about it? And they've been so brave, even going 2-1 up now. They've been really brave still. They've stuck to their game plan. They've looked in control and comfortable. And you're thinking, 8 minutes to go, where are Arsenal going to go with this? They're looking leggy, looking tired, looking flustered.
Yeah, which is hardly surprising. Made only 2 changes. Mikel Arteta from the team that started against Paris Saint-Germain on Tuesday night. 8 matches unbeaten in the Premier League. Just the 1 defeat in the Premier League here at the Emirates all season. That was the West Ham win back in February, 1-0. Here's Brooks now on the right. An Arsenal flag is being waved at the bottom end of the clock end to our right. No tifos to talk about tonight. Here is Martinelli in on the challenge. Bounces away, then a stretch. Marino couldn't get it away. Evan Nielsen, Tavernier, but in step Partey, and Partey was able to deflect it to Martinelli, and then Partey goes down rather easily from a challenge from Alex Scott, but it's a free kick to Arsenal. Time's running out for Mikel Arteta's team here.
Yeah, 3 changes coming for Arsenal, and it's 3. One kid and 2 unlikely sources that you think to bring it to turn the game around, but that's what they've got on the bench right now.
Yeah, the senior players, Sterling and Zinchenko, as well as Waneri. But it is going to be a triple change to try and get something out of this match, as Trossard, this Arsenal attack, peters out, and Semenyo is able to play it infield to Adams, and then back to the man who might have scored the winning goal, Dean Howson, his 3rd goal of the season, scored in wins against Tottenham and Manchester United. Now he might have headed in a winner against Arsenal. It's not a bad collection of goals, is it, for a central defender in the course of a season? Goes back to Raya. Just over 5 minutes to play. Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton waiting to take your calls. 08085 909 693. Match of the day tonight with Gary Lineker while stocks last. Here is Odegaard playing it forward to Saka. Mikel Arteta waits to make these changes, but Saka is being forced away towards the halfway line. Still Saka, then with a pass to Marino. Nice change of feet from him. Odegaard works it out to the right-hand side. Ben White is there. Odegaard, then it comes back, and Arsenal groans from the home supporters. Arsenal going backwards, not forwards.
Yeah, the lack of incision, the lack of decisive play has been evident, and the lack of confidence in front of goal has been evident, and the one man who's shown the confidence is sat on the bench now after being subbed.
Yeah, Arsenal without Declan Rice now for the latter part of this match, the man who opened the scoring in the 34th minute of the match with his 8th goal of the season. Arsenal winning a throw-in on the halfway line. So I think we will see these changes now. So that's going to be it for Bukayo Saka. I'm imagining this was probably always part of the plan, although the intention was probably to substitute him if they could, with maybe half an hour to go. But in fact, he's played 85 minutes. And Martinelli's also walking towards this side of the field. But Ben White, who missed the Crystal Palace match with a knee problem. So Sterling is on, Waneri and Zinchenko. And Ben White, Saka and Martinelli are the 3 to make way.
Yeah, Partey will go into right midfield, and Lewis Skelly right back, and Lewis Skelly into midfield, and Raheem Sterling out on this left-hand side. I think my stat for the day is he's scored more goals against Bournemouth than any other player.
That's very good. Here's Zinchenko. Zinchenko's pass, that's way overhit by Zinchenko through to Kepa, who's actually going to allow it to roll, which it just about does over the goal line, and then he carelessly allows it to roll down the little slope as well.
How foolish of him.
How foolish. Another change for Bournemouth. Evan Nielsen, the man who might have scored the winning goal, the Brazilian, is going to be replaced by the Canadian international Daniel Jeppesen. So Evan Nielsen, who certainly enjoyed his moment, didn't he? But his heart was in his mouth while they waited to find out whether it went in off an arm or not.
Well, the ball was in his mouth in the first half at one point. I think that caused the injury, but he's been terrific this afternoon. I think the way that he triggers movements on the ball and off the ball, and they work off him, and he's a key point, a focal point, and it might not be the prettiest goal he's scored for Bournemouth, but it might be one of the biggest.
It might. So he's off the field, and Jeppesen, former Sheffield United youngster, is on up front with 2.5 minutes to go. So Arsenal facing defeat for the second time this week. First Paris Saint-Germain, now Bournemouth. Zinchenko allows the ball to bounce. Brooks forcing him to head it away. Now here's Raheem Sterling, just one goal for Arsenal so far, on loan from Chelsea. This is now his 27th appearance, Raheem Sterling, and then Tavernier has stayed down, further angering the Arsenal supporters, and referee Gillett has to come across, and then he walks away feeling the top of his left hip. Arsenal take the free kick short. Zinchenko forward to Merino on the left wing. He cuts it back and then plays it centrally. Lewis Skelly allows it to come to him, then back to Saliba, back towards the halfway line. Partey, Odegaard now on the right hand side. Nwaneri, the teenager Ethan Nwaneri, the number 53, only just turned 18, back to the halfway line to Saliba. Now Kivior to Zinchenko. But Bournemouth are intense in their chasing of Arsenal here, even though it's the home side that are keeping possession. Sterling, Zinchenko, now Odegaard into the box. Nwaneri, it's very tight, very congested. Still Nwaneri, and then the defender gets a touch on that, and referee Gillett, I'm not sure he's got that one right, says it's a goal kick after the challenge came in on the Arsenal teenager.
I think he's bought the appeals of Bournemouth players that Kirkes was fouled in clearing the ball, but the attack had died out, and again it came out to this left-hand side, and Merino went across. There was no one in the area. It went all the way back out to right. It's been stilted. It's been really stodgy from Arsenal again, and you're just seeing how little they've managed to threaten at pace against this Bournemouth side.
Absolutely right, Rob. That was given as a foul by Nwaneri on Kirkes. The final touch behind was off Kirkes, but after the ball had gone, he was fouled by Nwaneri, so it's a free kick. But there was always the possibility from Arsenal that we might have seen this today after the events of the week.
Yeah, I think you would have done if they hadn't have put out the 11 that they put out. Then you were saying, right, OK, now they'll be at it because they want to put right the wrongs from last week. They want to put this one to bed early, and any other thoughts can go straight onto the game against PSG, but it's been anything but that.
6 minutes of added time. Arsenal 1, Bournemouth 2. Northampton still leading against Leinster in the closing minutes of that semi-final of the Champions Cup in Dublin. In fact, let's get an update now from James Burridge.
Oh, John, this is one of the Champions Cup classics. We are just waiting to hear if Josh van der Fleer has scored in the dying minutes. Northampton lead by 3. Let's try and listen to the TMO's conversation. Tol Trananini with Pierre Brousset, our referee. We have just watched 3 minutes of utterly incredible, exhausting rugby. width to width, coast to coast. We're watching the replay of Van der Fleer as he tries to get the ball over the line. And was the ball in touch? The crowd think the ball actually wasn't. We're looking at the replay on the big screen. Surely that came out forward, but frankly, that ball's in touch there, isn't it? What a call for Pierre Brousset to make now. 45,000 Leinster fans in the Aviva, and right now the game swings on this call.
This angle is good. Can you go back with this angle?
We're still trying to hear that conversation. Whether the ball came forward out of a Leinster hand. This game could be won literally by the touch of a rugby ball.
So can you go back, Joel, please?
Paul Grayson, what do you think?
Well, the ball has come loose after Van der Fleer's carry. Whether that's gone forward from him is hard to tell. The balance of probability, you'd say yes. And the Northampton player, who's in an offside position, jumps over the ball as it rolls free. It then hits the corner flag, which is in play.
Is assist tackle, never release.
And Prendergast, I beg your pardon, Ross Byrne, replaced at fly out on the side of the ruck, puts his hand on the ball, which is on the try line.
So I've got an infringement by 5. So then can we have a look if the grounding is good or if the ball is on the post?
The ball's on the post, so it's in play. If they don't adjudge it to have gone forward, it's the match-winning try.
This could be a heart-breaking moment for Northampton.
Okay. So
they have been utterly brilliant today. 27-15 they led at half-time. Leinster came right back. Then Northampton responded. They led at one point 37-27. But Leinster have come back like we knew they would.
So base of the post. Okay, we got 3 things. First, infringement by 5 green. Ripping the ball and assist tackle. That is cynical. Okay.
Pierre, est-ce que le joueur est dans l'acte de scorer? Est-ce que ça prévient un potentiel?
No, because he was short. He was short and he cannot move forward. For me, it will be just cynical. So I will be yellow card against 5. And then we've got a knock-on and the ball touched the ball, so no try.
Wow. No try. Is that the decision?
Yellow card.
Yellow.
So captain?
Let's listen to the reaction here as Pierre Brousset brings over the captains.
Number 5 is involved as the tackle, is assist tackle, so it will be a yellow card against 5. And then there is knock-on and the ball touched the base of the post, no try, penalty for you. Number 5.
So Northampton.
Assist tackle.
That's the best outcome Northampton can hope for, really, from that situation.
So, 1 minute left on the clock. Live here in Dublin, 5 Live Sport, the Champions Cup semi-final. Leinster 34, Northampton 37.
No, it's penalty.
And Northampton lose Alex Coles to the sin bin, but their chances of winning here are still hanging on by a thread. There are more changes being made on that touchline.
Continues on Sports Extra. And we are in the final stages here at the Emirates, where Arsenal trail by 2 goals to 1. Bournemouth are on the attack. Arsenal have had pressure, but Bournemouth have held out. And of the 6 minutes of added time, we've now played 4.5. Bournemouth could be just seconds away from their first win in club history away to Arsenal. Arsenal, who led in the match through Declan Rice in the first half, but Dean Howson and Evan Nielsen were the goals in the second half. And a number of Arsenal supporters now, probably hundreds, maybe thousands, have given up on it. They've left their seats, they've left the ground, while Bournemouth have possession, Rob Green.
Yeah, the Allays are out for Bournemouth. They survived a bit of sustained pressure from Arsenal. Free kick, corner, but all in all, it's been comfortable because they've got the bodies back and no messing from Zamani. Just launch it into the Arsenal area. They've got one more attack to deal with.
Well, I make it that we've got 1 minute to play. And after this, if it stays like this, Manchester City are going to be breathing down Arsenal's neck, 3 points behind them. The final seconds of Leinster-Northampton are on Sports Extra. The final seconds here on the Premier League, with Bournemouth leading 2-1 at Arsenal. And now Waneri, 25 yards out, square from him to Miles Skelly, then back to Zinchenko, then forward to Odegaard. Odegaard into the penalty area to Sterling. Sterling turns. He's got the ball to the right-hand side now as the challenge comes in on Partey, but Partey just bounces down onto the ground as the challenge came in from Semenyo, and it's through for a goal kick, and that's all for Bournemouth.
Yeah, that was desperate from Thomas Partey, and it was come to a standstill for the umpteenth time by Arsenal. They were just looking to get something created, and Kepa waving his arms, waving his hands to the ref to say, are we done? Are we done? Do I need to kick this? This is a famous win for Bournemouth.
So this is the 9th time that Bournemouth have played Arsenal away in all competitions. Before today, they had played 8, lost 8. And Arsenal, second in the Premier League. But in between the 2 matches against Paris Saint-Germain, Kepa is waiting an age to take this goal kick, which he does now downfield. And that is it! A famous win for Bournemouth! Their first away from home against Arsenal. And Mikel Arteta and his team beaten for the 2nd time this week. First Paris Saint-Germain, now Bournemouth, both here at the Emirates, and they are stumbling towards the end of the season. Still, a place in the Champions League next season for Arsenal is not certain. Mikel Arteta walks onto the field as Andoni Iraola celebrates with his Bournemouth players, who extend their record 53 points now. That's the best season they've ever had in terms of points in the top division, and they might be in Europe next season. They still have a chance.
Well, it's a fantastic performance from Bournemouth. Questions still remain for Arsenal. They came out full strength, and you're thinking it would be enough for them to blow Bournemouth away, but it was anything but. Bournemouth with 2 set pieces, ironically, against Arsenal, that has won it for them. But beyond that, the performance, the way they went about it, the confidence they showed, they've earned this win and they're going to enjoy it.
Mikel Arteta looks fuming as he walks down the slope and off the pitch and disappears down the tunnel. More on this in a moment, but we need to get back to Dublin, of course, to find out what the news is on the Champions Cup semi-final from James Burridge.
Northampton have produced, John, the biggest win in their history. They have produced astonishing 37-34 win over Leinster. You were with us a moment ago when Leinster thought they had scored. Van der Fleer thought he had scored. He had touched the ball down on the line, but the referee didn't give it. He gave a penalty to Leinster. They had one more chance and they couldn't find a way through. Northampton threw 13 bodies on top of that, and it was an incredible finish, Paul Grayson, that Northampton did.
In the last 2 rounds of this competition, Leinster have beaten Harlequins 62-0. In the quarter-final here, they beat Glasgow 52-0. They were red-hot favourites for this game, given 19 points by the bookmakers, who rarely get it wrong. This is a truly astonishing result in this competition for Northampton.
Yeah, everyone will catch our breath, we'll get reaction, but Leinster, well, there were big questions asked about whether they could deliver it and hunt a 5th title. That's the one they've been looking for. Northampton, absolutely incredible performance. This is one they will savour for a very, very long time. 37-34, Northampton, a famous victory in Europe.
Famous victory for Bournemouth here at the Emirates as well, and my goodness, they're enjoying it too. Andoni Iraola there, all in black, but with a huge smile on his face, punching the air towards the Bournemouth fans in the corner, who, I mean, they've witnessed something that no Bournemouth fan has ever seen before, and they'll remember this one for many, many years.
Well, the history of the club, the way that they've resurrected the club, the stuff of dreams for Bournemouth fans from years gone by, that they'd be playing on stadiums like this just to come out and compete against teams like Arsenal has been a dream, and now to go and do the double, to win here against a team in the Champions semi-final is stuff of dreams.
Yeah, taken 6 points off Arsenal this season with that league double. Martin Odegaard was the last Arsenal player out there on the pitch. They'll need Arsenal something very, very different to this on Wednesday night in Paris.
Well, at the minute, looking at that, you just cannot see it. You take Declan Rice out of the equation of this team, and you've got a group of players who look bereft of confidence and bereft of any ideas of how to get about and score goals and have an incisive edge. But so there's a work to do and so little time to do it.
Yes, we will be there. Join us for that. 5 Live, the place to listen to PSG against Arsenal on Wednesday night. The lines are open for 606 08 085 909 693. We will be with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton in a moment or two. But we will, I hope, hear live interviews during the course of 606 with Andoni Iraola and Mikel Arteta and whoever else we can find. But you can hear the Bournemouth fans singing their songs in the corner of the Emirates Stadium right now. Let me just tell you that later on tonight on Sports Extra, St Helens against Leeds will be the choice of listening, so commentary from the Super League at St James's Park. Then from 9 o'clock we will have commentary on qualifying for the Miami Grand Prix. You'll be able to find that on the BBC Sport website and app. The race will be on 5 Live tomorrow night. Damon Hill, part of our team. As ever, Saturday morning weekend breakfast from 7. We'll review and preview all the sport. Colin Murray will be on air from 10 with the famous great football songbook. Don't miss that. You won't regret it if you listen. 10:30, and then tomorrow more Premier League commentaries and indeed the Manchester derby in the Women's Super League. But Brighton, Newcastle and Chelsea, Liverpool on 5 Live. Rob Green, thank you very much for your company here at the Emirates. That was a bit of a tale of the unexpected, wasn't it?
It was a brilliant performance by Bournemouth, and you're looking at just the atmosphere that the fans brought, that the team brought, the nature of the performance that they brought. It's something that they could have only woke up this morning and dreamt of, and it's been a brilliant day for them.
Yep, thank you, Rob. Bournemouth fans, Robbie and Chris, I'm sure will want to hear from you. And 606 will be on the air here on 5 Live after the news with Carl Hartley.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.